Tax Rep Network is brought to you by Bench, America's largest bookkeeping service for small businesses. Bench is committed to supporting business owners that have fallen seriously behind on their books, something that is all too common in representation work. They combine powerful technology and an in-house expert bookkeeping team to deliver accurate financials for every year of missing returns. Bench specializes in tough cases, solving even the most complex, difficult, and time-consuming client challenges. Working with Bench means more time for you to focus on actively working rep cases, problem solving, and growing your practice. What's more, they're fast, meaning you'll be keeping clients and revenue officers happy. It's a win-win. One of the greatest things I found is that if it's a really big, messy case, they can throw more and more people at it versus anyone I could find locally. Once Bench helps your clients fully catch up, their monthly bookkeeping service keeps them out of trouble, ensuring you can provide a truly lasting resolution. Bench's partner program is perfect for tax pros that need a dependable resource they can trust to get their clients caught up. With meaningful partner benefits and dedicated support, Bench already works with many tax rep members. Find out more at www.bench.co/taxrep. That's www.bench.co/taxrep. So how do I call the IRS and get through much faster? How do I avoid those courtesy hangups that the IRS does? I use Call ENQ. ENQ is a service that you can use to get through to the IRS much faster, get to a representative, and basically get your case resolved. We set up a special arrangement for Tax Rep Network listeners where you can try the service, get 200 minutes for $19.95. For less than $20, you get 200 minutes and you will save hours and hours and hours of time and frustration. Just go to callenq.com/TRN. Again, callenq.com/TRN as in Tax Rep Network. Try the service. It will literally change your practice. How do I manage my tax rep practice? How do I get transcripts? How do I track what is going on with the IRS with every single one of my client cases? How do we complete the offer forms, the powers of attorney, everything? We use Tax Help software. Tax Help software is the cornerstone of our practice. We use it for its intelligent ordering. Every single night, it will update the transcripts on our clients, so we will see things happen long before those letters even go to the mail. We can then, react. We can let the client know. We can get all the transcripts we need to determine what our client's best options are, when is the debt going to expire, and we can fill in all of the IRS forms and get them filed accurately, the analysis done correctly. If you're interested in giving it a test, go to taxhelpsoftware.com, use promo code TAXREPTRIAL, all one word, all caps. You will get a free 2-week trial. Again, that's taxhelpsoftware.com, TAXREPTRIAL, all caps for a free 2-week trial. If you love it and want to buy it, use TAXREP10, capital, all caps, TAXREP10, TAXREP10, all caps, one word. You'll save 10% on your purchase. It will be the engine that runs your tax rep practice, just like it's what we use for ours. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Tax Rep Network podcast. I'm Eric Green. I have a very special guest on today. Most of you probably know Andrew Lassie. He has the Tech for Accountants podcast. That's how I knew him. And I was chatting with Andrew on his podcast, and there's so many great topics that came up. I was like, you know what? I just got to get Andrew back. And what I wanted to talk about today is literally, I'm calling this automate everything. Now, in all honesty, there are certain things I can't automate, like someone brushing my teeth for me and those types of things. But there are a lot of aspects of your practice that lend themselves to being automated. And Andrew, I started on this theme because tax season was coming. And a lot of the listeners, a lot of my tax rep members are always like, oh, tax season is coming. I'm going to be working till midnight.
And I've been on them about, you got to get your arms around your practice. So first of all, rank your clients, get rid of the D's and F's, raise the prices on, so that you're making what you should be making on the clients. You're right. I'd rather do less work and make more money and have less headache. I mean, most of those F clients cause 90% of your headaches, right? So get rid of them. The next thing though, I would say is make sure you have the systems in place to do what you need to do. You control your calendar. If you don't want to work till midnight, don't work till midnight. All right. Anyone that comes in, for tax prep, after April 1st, you're on extension, right? If you want to go home by 8 p.m., go home by 8 p.m. If you want to it's your business. I also hit a theme on taking care of yourself. I mean, there are a gazillion different diets. The best diet I was told by actually a pro female model and bodybuilder was just eat real food, drink water and eat real food. If you avoid processed stuff for the most part, you will lose weight and feel way better, which I do. So I wanted to, thanks for taking the time. I want to dive into this idea of automate everything, right? And because this is what you do. And for those of you who are struggling with this, you may want to get a hold of Andy, but this is what he and his team do. Is they can look at these things that you're kind of spending time manually doing every day. And if you can, Andy, we were kicking around, if we could cut one task out a day that takes 5 minutes, if that could be automated, what did it come to, like 21 hours a year?
Yeah, 21.67 hours a year. So if you bill $100 an hour, that's about $2,166.67 out of your pocket, just doing that little thing that takes, it's just 5 minutes, Eric, it's just 5 minutes. And we also don't think about one of the biggest misconceptions and myths, and kind of in this hustle mentality world that we're in now of, I only get 4 hours of sleep and I work for 20 hours and I'm Captain Productivity, The multitasking myth, it's just been proven time and time and time again. It is not a effective thing. So it's one of the things that just, and it's like one of those little pet peeves, right? But someone will hand me a resume. It's like, oh, I'm great at multitasking. It's like, subjectively, you are not good at that. I will prove it right here, right now. And we have not done this exercise. And Eric, this is not to embarrass you or anything like that. But I would like for you right now to say the alphabet through the letter F.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
All right. Now I would like for you to count to the number 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now I would like for you to alternate A, 1, B, 2, and see if you can do them as fast as individually you did the others.
And I know where you're going with this. So A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6. When you multitask, quote unquote, what you're doing is multiple jobs in a mediocre fashion. All right. I agree with every scientific study says. And by the way, I actually had on Andrew. I had on Stevie Just, who's a former Navy SEAL that I grew up with. And I wanted him to talk about, like, how do these guys get through BUDS, the basic underwater demolition SEAL training. And, what I'd been told, for some reason, randomly, I know a lot of former Navy SEALs I either grew up with or went to law school with a couple. So I have like a dozen of these guys that I just randomly have met and know. And one of the themes that comes up is to get through that or anything, you have to keep your world small. And I was like, that's an interesting way of looking at it. And in BUDS, you can look at it as it's like 181 days, give or take a few, or you can look at it as a sunrise to sunset. All right. Like they said, you can look at, oh my God, I got to eat this whole pie, or you can just eat a slice and don't worry about the rest of the pie. Don't worry about what happens tomorrow. And they said the people that will quit when they interview them after, because after when they quit, the favorite question is why? What, this was your goal. You only wanted to be a Navy SEAL. You quit a Division I scholarship to come here, and now you're quitting. Why? Time and time again, what they'll hear is they got overwhelmed. The day after day of misery and cold and stress and whatever, they were doing the opposite of keeping their world small. And so I think that if you have these multiple tasks, I agree with you. You're better off lining them up and knocking them out one by one. Just focus on that task, get it done. One, because now you're focused, you'll do a better job, you won't miss things. The accounting world, we're all involved in detail stuff, right? The return could trigger an audit. That return could trigger an criminal investigation. We want to make sure we're on top of our game. Hence, eat real food, get sleep, manage your calendar, and utilize. I mean, we live at a time now where you and I were talking about this before, almost anything could be automated. There are programs now that will make other programs talk to each other that don't talk to each other. So what's the point of banging your head against the wall over and over again when we have better keys? You can go through the door, right? I mean, so I wanted to talk to you about your approach to this and what the audience should be thinking about in terms of just how they should approach this. Like, okay, Eric, you're saying automate everything. What do you mean? Like, in other words, it almost seems overwhelming. Where do you start?
And that's a great question. Usually the way that I would go about this particular thing is if you just write down during the day, and it only takes one day, and you will uncover these things real quick. And usually you'll get momentum on discovering the things that you hate doing that are very, very, this is either done correctly or this is done incorrectly. And if these things are not just these, well, subjective, my opinion on this is this metric is that, or things like, if you look at things that are just, it is done correctly or it is done incorrectly, that's a good place to start with what can be automated, because computers are very good at math. They're very good at computations. They're very good at following processes that are laid out. And sometimes if there's errors, you course correct and okay, in this weird circumstance, we need to add a little filter here to make sure that this doesn't happen there. And just sort of anecdotally, what I discovered just in my own company, and it was just me in my living room, and okay, I'd get a new customer and cool. So now what I do is I put their name, email, phone number, yada, 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 what they purchased, money spent, da, da, da. I put that all into a Google Sheet. And then, I want to have them in my phone system. So I copy paste their phone number into the phone system, copy paste their name, email address. Okay, perfect. Oh, and I can't exactly copy paste the phone number because in my Google spreadsheet, I can't start it with a plus, right? If you start your number with +1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's going to show up as an error. So in Google, I have to do it 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then in my phone system, I have to remember to put the plus in front. Otherwise, it won't work. So now after I've done that task, and then when I get new employees, I have to train them. Here's the nuance of this system, but you get used to it. And also we need automatic emails that get sent out, introductions, expectations, da, 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 da. So you copy paste the name and email into MailChimp. However, on the phone system, we need a first name, last name combination. But in MailChimp, we need that parsed to first name, last name. So, all these things, it's like, how hard is it to pull out a first name and last name? Okay, it's not that difficult, but you keep doing these things over and over and over and copy pasting these things in multiple spots. And as it turns out, a lot of times you can automate these things I add this into the Google spreadsheet and it gets populated the correct way, formatted the correct way, automatically into every single place that I need it. And it gets updated correctly the first time. So there's no human error. I need to remember that in my dialer, it has to start with a plus, but in my spreadsheet, it can't start with a plus. And all these different ways to just do dumb stuff, right? Your clients are not paying you to update your phone system with their phone number. They aren't paying you to keep the administrative things under control. There's so many pieces that can be automated. And especially this day and age, it's one of those things that I look at. Just for instance, we had a client the other day and they were complaining about accounts receivable. They're like, I have a ton of people. They owe me money. I send them invoices in the mail. I don't hear back from them. They don't answer my phone calls. I got these people that are hunting them down. Da, 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 da. And here is a wonderful task to automate: payment. And oh, well, I can't accept. You can. We do. This year, I mean, it's January, but we'll say ballpark this year, we will do 1.5 million ballpark. My accounts receivable right now is, I don't know if he paid. One of my best friends, he owes us $400 because I don't have him on auto pay. The end.
Yep.
And that's carried over from last year. We automate payments. I'm not remembering this person gets billed on this day. Here's this nuanced situation. And sometimes there are odd situations and you can manually do the odd situations. But, for the 1,000+ other people, it just happens.
Right.
And that is appropriate, especially this day and age. Comcast takes my money off my credit card and I'm not sitting there. Well, I need authorization for this and that. It's like, if they're happy with you and that's just how it goes, you can automate the entire AR process.
Yep.
And it's not complicated. It's not expensive. Literally, if you use QuickBooks Online, it's built into it. Maybe like the medium or high medium, whatever the plan is, right? It can be automated and you don't have to think about it. And then automatically reconciled, automatically, like everything that you can think of that. And I mean, for accountants, we understand that stuff. It's not like, oh, well, I don't understand how to, get this client into the batch and my numbers are all off and I don't know how to do bank recs. Like, of course you do. But, me, the tech guy, I can do them too. And I don't have to know anything or have the know-how because you can automate these little things. And then guess where I spend my time, Eric?
Hopefully marketing.
I spend it marketing. I spend it building up a pipeline for my salesmen who then complain to me. Literally, they complain that they have too many appointments in their calendar and they need someone to call one of their appointments because their appointments have gone too long. So my focus, marketing, growing the company. But if I'm spending all my time copy pasting everybody's name into things, especially as we start growing, and it's not just one customer here and there, we're talking a couple dozen per day. And if that takes 5 minutes each customer, I need a full-time person to just copy paste stuff that I spend an hour programming. You can hire a programmer, but that example, 5 minutes a day, if you bill $100 an hour, it's $2,100 a year. A programmer is probably not going to charge $500 to fix that 5-minute thing. But even if they did, you just saved $1,500, no wages, nobody takes off, no human error. There are infinite benefits to automating the things that can be automated. And then you can focus on, the advisory things, the places where you actually make money.
Right.
Big
No,
picture things.
Same thing here. I mean, when we, after listening to you and everything, we went through and did our own, what are we doing every day? And what we realized is the retainer agreements, other than changing a few items in it, it's a Word document that can be automated. And so we input once. When the intake comes in, we input once. The retainer agreement is automated, goes out. With that will go the checklist of documents and a link to pay. We will get alerted when the payment is made. It will actually pop up for my staff and myself because nothing happens till we're paid. The retainer comes in. So my receivables are always very small for the same reason. We were chasing people for money. And in my world, you get behind the, you're not getting paid. So we have that automated. The documents they can all be uploaded. So it doesn't have to come in mail. It gets uploaded. A lot of that can be, there are programs out that will pull numbers from forms and populate them into software. So that can get done. No, I'm all in favor of automating everything. That, especially if you find that you're doing repetitive things. It seems to me that's where the real opportunity is. If you can cut that stuff out, because the goal for anyone listening to this, the goal for you with your practice is to work on your practice, not work in your practice. If you go and you read Napoleon Hill or Rich Dad Poor Dad or any of those, there's a very common theme running through all of it, which is if you have a quote unquote practice, like most doctors and lawyers and accountants do, you actually just have created the worst job you'll ever have, because you have to do everything. You don't get paid if you don't. So they always say that you're working for the worst boss in the world, because, you should have as much automated or at least leveraged as best you can so that you're working on the business. Like right now, accountants should be making sure everything is getting done, not necessarily sitting doing the work. And frankly, right now, looking for more clients. I don't know what, the accountants don't want to hear about that. Well, it's tax season. I can't market now. It's tax season. No, this is when you market. This is when clients are hysterical looking for somebody. All right. The problem is that you can't be marketing if you are sweating from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. trying to knock out simple 1040s, because the ones that come in now, they all just quickly want their refunds, right? They're the ones dashing in the door in January. One is most W-2 stuff you can pull in electronically. All that can be automated. A few items input, that return is done. And if you're charging appropriately, they should be money spinners. You should not be spending your time on it. All right. So I think it's smart for the people listening to say, look, I'm going to start by doing this. Let me list everything I'm doing every day. And then figure out what can be automated. And if you need help, Andrew and his team can come in and help you with that. But the starting point would be to figure out, and I agree with you. The moment we began mapping out a case, we called the workflow. As we began mapping out our workflow, it was like, do we have to do that every single time? Like, why? And we had 3 different systems. Like, how you talk about copy and pasting? We had 3 different systems: our billing system, our inventory of cases, and then our document management system. Well, with a few tweaks, they all speak to each other now. So it's input once and flows through everything. So that time got out. The retainer agreements, doing that, because you can't really bill for that. We cut that out. That's now automated. The payment link goes out. We're not emailing people like wire instructions, all that. It just goes out automatically with the link. And by the way, same with bills. When they get their bills, it's emailed to them. We can see when they open it, and they have the link to pay right there. Right. And I've gotten some members say, well, aren't you worried about the credit card fees? How much time did we waste chasing people for payment? If I can get them to just pay right then and there, it's worth the 2% or 3% or whatever it is we're getting hit for.
Yeah. And, the flip side, the credit card fee sort of argument. And, here's the secret, Eric, on how you get around that. We charge a 3% credit card fee, and we have not lost a single client because we say e-check is free, or if you'd like to use credit card and get points, it's a 3% service charge. We have not lost a single client because of that. And okay, cut that out of it, and you do have to pay credit card fees. God forbid. You're cutting down the accounts receivable time. And if you can get an extra payment out of 30, you are ahead of the game, and you didn't have to do anything to get it. So these are the things, AR is such a big thing where, and we used to deal with it all the time. And then it was like, why do we accept this as part of the deal when, we can just let our clients know this is how we do things. And I don't have to have a super staffed AR department that's calling people and reaching out and waiting for checks in the mail and things like that. Like we have found a way to automate the process. And I know my business is different, but in general, especially when you're taking on new clients that they're not used to how you used to do things. They just are going as you tell them it's supposed to go. So accounts receivable is a huge thing that people can automate. And on the client side, nobody is upset about that. Personally, I hate companies that don't automate it, like my pool guy and landscaper, and they use QuickBooks Online. And I'm like, can I just show you how to automatically get my money? I don't want to have to get the invoice and then pay it and then find my credit card and punch in the numbers. If you just take the money out of my account, you'll always get paid. And I'm happier as the client because it's one less thing I have to do, one less thing I have to think about. And Eric, I believe the part of people's hesitation on these types of things, it all comes down to the relinquishing control. And most people that are in the accounting industry, if we look at, I'm a huge fan of the DISC profile, which is sort of like the stepchild to like the Myers-Briggs, more people are familiar with. But basically, in the DISC personality profile, many accountants will fall into the category of the C and the S, which is for compliance, where you're a person that likes detailed instructions, doing detailed work, having a right and wrong analytical answer, and the stability. I like to know what happens next. I don't like surprises. I don't like ebbs and flows. And not everyone, but many will fall into that category. And in that category, the type of people that like having control, do not like to relinquish it, do not like change. So how do we get over that hurdle of, I used to do this manually, I have my process, and I do not want to relinquish control. What if the robot made a mistake? What if da 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 da? And also, let's go back to that 5-minute example. Say it made a mistake. Computers don't make mistakes. People that program computers make mistakes. Computers don't make mistakes. But say it did make a mistake. Say it made several. Would that mistake cost you more than $1,500 in mistakes? Because, we hire people, we'll outsource work, we'll get contractors. So you're willing to, basically take these systems and put them in the hands of another person because, you still have that control. You're speaking to that person. You understand how people work. But at the same time, you could put these in the hands of something that gets automated, save yourself all the time, all the headache. And what's the upside to it, except for, the process, you like your process, you do not like change. And, that's just a type of personality where I'm on the other end of the spectrum, where I like the high highs and the getting demolished lows and things always changing and nothing can stay still. That's my personality type. So I do understand different strokes for different folks. And I'm obviously on team, let's change this for the better, as opposed to team, it works this way. Don't fix what isn't broken to me.
Well, I think so. The book E-Myth talked about this. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think it's called Cash Flow Quadrant, talked about this. It's the difference of being the employee working in your business versus being a business owner. You will not you do not own a business until you can remove yourself. You can't be central to it anymore. And there is now automated bookkeeping. For instance, like I set this up in my personal life. I now have QuickBooks Online. I do have an outside bookkeeper. Why? I am so busy, it's not worth my spending the hours. Now, I used to like doing that, getting all my receipts and checking my credit card. QuickBooks automates. It all gets dumped into QuickBooks automatically. All right. The bookkeeper spends literally an hour a month ticking and tying. I can get reports of my charitable donations at the end of the year, my business expenses to be reimbursed and all that stuff. If you can get let's say your bookkeeping clients, when automated bookkeeping got rolled out, I remember a bunch of these QuickBooks Pro advisors, hysterical, Intuit's going to put us out of business. And I did a podcast with Joe Woodard, who runs Scaling New Heights, big, conference. He's a big Intuit guy. And Joe and I were talking, and I said, isn't this really an opportunity? He was like, exactly. If you're a bookkeeper and you can automate that, there are two ways to look at that. Oh my God, my job is ending. Or wait a minute, if I can get this done automated, my job is to go get more clients. I can now scale this. Same thing here. If we can cut hours a day out of Nicole, my assistant's time, because we automated this, I can go get in more clients and not have to worry, because it's now with the automation, it is scalable. So if the goal is so here's what's going to happen. Those people that refuse to change will find, A, they cannot make more money. There aren't more hours. You can't manufacture more hours in the day. And what more and more will happen is they're going to price themselves out, because the automation makes it cheaper. If you can automate the bookkeeping, you can compete even at $50 a month. Why? Well, first of all, you may want all the consulting and the more, you're willing to go in low on the bookkeeping, but you don't even have to. It's just, you don't need to spend the hours on it. It's automated. And so the true key to leverage is, the key to making money is to leverage. And the easiest thing to leverage is with the technology, right? I mean, if we can like the three systems, we used to input into three systems. There's the time wasted on when we had human error, have to go fix it. There's a time wasted in doing it. Cut all that out at our billing rates. Listen, for me, if I can cut 1 hour, a week out, that's $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year that I didn't waste, that I could have done client billable work. And so I think for the folks listening, this is more about, first of all, you're right, remove human error, get rid of the redundancy, but it will allow you to run leaner and meaner. And if you want to be a business owner, if you're dreading tax season, you're not a business owner. You're an employee in your own shop is really what it is. Because the ones who are business owners, like I have some tax rep members that are killing it. And to them, they're psyched. You know why? This is the best time of year to make money. They're going to make a ton of money between now and April 15th, but they're set up as a business. They've got people in place. They've got systems in place. So to them, they're all geared up to try to get more clients in the door, do more consultations, all of that. Versus the person or guy or gal looking at, oh my God, look at all the returns I have to do. You don't have a business, you have a job. All right. And again, it's probably the worst job you'll ever have. And it may be too late right now, but one of the things you need to do, your off tax season needs to be spent in getting your arms around your practice. So Andrew, any other suggestions for folks? I mean, obviously doing this little bit of an audit, what you do during the day, but what else should people be thinking about?
Well, this is something that I know you're a big advocate of, and blocking out time in your day to focus in on an important task for your business, not for I got to do this compliance work, not I have to call so-and-so back, I need to reply to this email, because I can tell you, I've been doing this for a couple of years of blocking out my day. And I don't think I've lost any clients or anything catastrophic. I don't think has happened by me taking time out and identifying, it's really important for me to, and I think we talked about this on the podcast, but one of our most recent automations was after we send out a proposal, and if we haven't heard back, it'll automatically just touch base with them. You do not need a super personalized email to say, hey, just dropping in. If you had any questions about the proposal, please feel free to give me a call, automatically tie in signature of said salesperson. And okay, yeah, they can type that up, and okay, it takes 1 minute, but and I can program these things myself, but say I had to pay a programmer $1,000, which would have been a huge ripoff in that particular case. But if I got one client that maybe would have slipped through the cracks, boom, paid for itself and then some. My salesmen are happier because guess what? They don't have to spend time doing stupid follow-ups. So where do they spend their time? Getting more business. So every piece that where we can save people's time is going to help it more and more. And, when you talked about the automatic bookkeeping, this is going to put us out of business. And we had the same conversation in the IT world when, and I'll skip getting into the weeds on it, but a big part of the job is patch management, making sure systems are up to date. 10 years ago, that requires you remote in or physically go to the office and look at each machine one by one. What patches do we have? What don't we have? What do we need to apply? Go through one by one by one by one by one. And our numbers, when this first started, each technician could manage about 300 computers before they were just threshold, burned out, impossible to possibly be more efficient or handle the job. So every 300 new clients, I need a new employee on the tech side. And then they came out with this wonderful thing in our world we call RMM, remote management and monitoring. And basically, it gives us a list of all of our clients and all of their computers. And it says, this one needs patches. Well, actually, it doesn't tell us it needs patches. We have it automatic that when new patches come out, apply them unless we tell you not to. So now one technician can be leveraged over 500 clients. So I can actually pay them more, and it actually costs less per client that we take on, because managing 1,000 clients now only takes 2 people where it used to take 3. So I'm saving thousands of dollars per week in wages just because I'm embracing, here is something that, oh no, the RMM is going to take away our job. That's a big chunk of what we do. Okay, well, just now it's not. What could we do instead of the stuff that really anybody can do? And I wish there were a way to automate it. Well, that exists. And so now we can leverage our time way more effectively. So when someone calls and says, I'm looking to migrate QuickBooks and Drake to a server and I want to have a VPN where my clients can log in and stuff, like these are task specific billable hours. And so I could have had my guys say, too busy to take this on, couldn't answer the call, didn't get to it, they went somewhere else, But now it's all right, let's get started tomorrow. We have plenty of time not to just do nothing, but we've leveraged that technology to make the company more efficient. And I haven't lost a client to my knowledge that said, well, RMM is involved, so all of the high skilled tasks that you're performing, the little ones that anybody can do, that's viewed as a commodity anyway, you're automating that piece of it. Like your clients are looking for the end result. So like on the tech side, I just want my books reconciled. I don't need this super fancy, well, the way we do it is dig into this and that. I want my books to be accurate, and that is what I'm paying for. I want the number in QuickBooks Online to match or be very, very close within a fair margin of dollars. QBO says I have this, my bank account agrees with the number that QuickBooks says. Or if there is a variance, there's a very logical explanation, like the batch comes tomorrow. Things like that. I don't need to know how it's happening or how you're leveraging. And okay, if you use like an automatic service through QuickBooks, and I know most people would argue, well, it's not good, I do a better job than them. We'll just 80-20 this. But if you're able to leverage that for a couple bucks a month and fix their mistakes, it's the same as if you hired somebody in-house and were paying them to manually do it, except for you have to train them. You have to pay attention. Oh, they take sick days. Oh, they made a mistake. They were having a bad day and told one of your clients off, and now you have to put out the fire. It's hiring employees is basically automation. It's just we're more familiar and comfortable with, oh yeah, this guy in my office sorry, he's falling behind and your books are a mess. Like, I don't prefer that to, yeah, I'm charging you X and I'm only paying like a fraction of that to get the same result because I know how to get it done cheaper. But as the client on the other side, I just want it to be done, get a fair price, because I don't understand the stuff. Like you said, don't have time to be doing it and learning it. And, I just want to know, here are my numbers. I want to be confident when I look at them. I don't want to have somebody else look at them and tell me, did your accountant get in a bad accident? Because that's the only reason that's the only story that makes sense for how bad your books are. And this is what happened to me, where a third party said the only way that he could have submitted this is if he were in a bad accident. That's the only logical explanation for what I am looking at. And I'm not an accountant, not a bookkeeper. I know enough to be dangerous, but I also don't know what I don't know. And that's what your clients want. They want someone they can trust. They want the end result. And however you're getting to that end result, it's not as big of a factor as we kind of build up in our heads. It's not, well, my clients love that I have to show up to their office to do patch management and waste 5 hours. They don't. I've replaced that guy many, many times, and the clients aren't complaining that I don't show up and knock them off the computer. Wait, all the patches get done at midnight by a computer and I'm secure? That's all they want. I just want it to work. And that's all anybody really wants.
Yeah, no. And so, for the folks listening, two things. One, as far as your own practice, you need to be crazy driven to constantly be looking at it and what can you improve and watching what comes out. Because again, there are a lot of companies in the software space in this area that whether it's inventory management, AR management, they will work with QuickBooks. And if you really want to go through your practice and figure out how you can make things work, I mean, that's what Andrew does. The other thing is, view this as an opportunity. There are two ways to look at it, right? I mean, so Andrew, remember when you didn't need those 2 techs anymore, you don't need 3, you can do it with 2. You've got an option. One is you could downsize your costs, or you can look at this as, well, hell, I got to go get another 500 clients, right? In other words, we can take our current footprint and we can punch above our weight, to use a boxing metaphor. But basically, we can actually take what we have, and now that we have a machine, just feed as much as you can into the machine, and make as much as you can, because your per item cost keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because of the automation. And now your job should be to go find more clients and deal with client management and not worry about the day-to-day of getting it done. And that is the way you scale your practice. That is the way you make money. And quite frankly, how much headache do you have from these minor things that you have to keep doing just to get rid of them, right? Just to get rid of them. But no, it's terrific. And listen, like I said, thank you for taking the time out and doing this. So Andrew, for those folks listening to this, say, you know what, I got to talk to Andrew. I think I can maybe map some of this, but I want to get a consult with you. Whatever. How can people listening to this get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you go to the website tech4accountants.net, and that's tech the number 4 accountants.net, and there's a contact box. You could put in there, say you heard me on Eric's podcast, and through the automation, guess what? If the name Andrew is in the ticket, guess what happens, Eric? Guess.
They get a gift.
Oh, I wish. If they put the name Andrew in the ticket, I get notified. If my name's not in the ticket, it's going to get handled by somebody, and we have the systems, things in place where it just works, and it's it's one of those things that I know for myself in my head, it was like, oh, well, that's, that's only required for big companies. That's only, it's just 5 minutes. Eric, it's just $2,166.67 a year. It's just 5 minutes every day. And you can cut these things out and your life actually gets better. Block out your time, work on the business. My whole job is making my salesmen hate me because they have too many people to call. That can't happen if I'm doing the tech work. So I have techs who are all better than me anyway. Like they'll tell me jokes. I'm just like, ha ha ha. Yeah, a notification on a DDoS attack. Like, yeah, totally, man. But they know more than me. They take better care of the customers, pay them well. Like it's one of those things that conceptually it's like, it makes sense, but it doesn't apply to me. And then when you're in it, it's like, would I ever go back?
No way.
Never. So tech4accountants.net, go to contact and put my name in there. So you heard me on the podcast, and I'll be sure to book a time with you through my automated Calendly system. And,
Yep.
We don't have to go back and forth. Hey, is this time good for you? Let me know. Oh, it's not. You're out of town. Well, we don't have to waste time. Click the box. It's all automatic.
Right.
And then we can spend time doing the consulting that can't be automated.
And where you actually make money.
Exactly. So I spend less time doing dumb stuff, more time building the business. It's so obvious, but I think once you experience it, it is just groundbreaking. And, people in my company, they saw firsthand. It's like, oh, well, I don't like how it gets automated and it puts the salesman's name and the campaign that it came from. I don't like that it does that automatic. I'd really like to have that control. And then it automatically happens and it's always right. And it's like, yeah, I guess I didn't need to.
And I think for a lot of folks, it is giving up the control, right? It does take a little bit of a leap of faith, but I don't know why this comes to mind, but it's really not on point. But it always strikes me as, I was thinking of the line from Shawshank, right? Get on living or get on dying. The point is if you want to go to the next step, if you want your practice to live, when you sit and you think about what do you want your day to look like, what do you want your bottom line, to get there at some point, you're going to have to take this leap of we're going to put the stuff in place. And listen, for a little while, you're going to be checking everything, right? Is it doing everything right? But once you realize that it is, and all of a sudden you have this additional time, now it's time to, sharpen your focus, go build your practice. And I think it's really, no one has made money without having leverage. It used to be you had to have people, right? Leverage people. So everything was a pyramid. We're now in the information age where you don't need to have this huge pyramid. You can have fewer people in the pyramid, but systems are doing everything. And in fact, where it is a threat are to the folks who don't want to move on, the folks who want the old union jobs. There's a part of our society that really wants, that what do you call it? The Norman Rockwell sort of era. That they've glossed over a lot of the headaches of that era, but they want to go back to the way that it was. It was simple. The world is moving too quickly. Automation is moving, but you have to look at it as an opportunity, and it's a huge opportunity right now. And so, with that, Andrew, listen, thank you. I'm going to put the link in the description, Tech4 Accountants. So it's TECH 4 accountants.net. If you feel that you want to reach out to Andrew, I can't urge you enough because quite honestly, it's something we are like nutty crazy about now. Now that everyone else, my team has gotten on board and sees the benefit, we're looking at literally, can we automate anything and what else can, in other words, what else can we automate? Andrew, listen, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate this. And everyone, thanks for listening. check out, and like I said, I'll put up the link below. Go check out and connect with Andrew. And listen, keep after it.
And thanks so much, Eric. I really had fun.
No, thank you. And thanks everyone for listening. And like I said, keep after it. Good luck with tax season and automate everything you can. All right.